Hello, you are listening to A Woman's Guide, Episode 7. Have you allowed rage to take over your life? Do you see yourself free from it? How do we start to rid ourselves of it? Today's episode is How to Overcome Defining Yourself by Rage. Stay tuned. This is A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Wholeness After Sexual Abuse. For all of you listening, welcome to the show. I am Simone, your confidant and guide. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so this episode is about rage, and I thought it would be a very appropriate subject, especially pertaining to those of us who have gone through sexual abuse and we're trying to develop ourselves and develop our character and understand our true self. So rage is a dangerous emotion. For those of you who know what that is or have experienced it or are experiencing it, it's a dangerous emotion. It's unpredictable. It's explosive. It's toxic. And it's even dangerous. Well, of course, it's going to be dangerous if it's explosive and it's unpredictable. So, we must understand that rage is it's an unnatural emotion, which is an outgrowth of anger. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So, anger is a natural emotion. And to me, I believe that anger is an indication, or it serves a purpose to alert ourselves of a boundary that's being crossed, emotionally or physically. So what that means is it's an indication that somebody is threatening your well-being. They're overstepping a boundary emotionally or physically. And anger serves as a way to protect us from being from that threat of being destroyed, or some aspect of ourself is not being honored the way that it should. That's what anger does. It's an indication that something's out of balance, that needs to be addressed. It's something that needs to be addressed. That's why we get angry. It's something that's out of balance. It's something that needs to be resolved. Something that's pending that needs to be resolved. It's nature's way of saying that this thing that I'm getting angry at is threatening my well-being or my safety. Naturally, that's what anger is about. Now, when this anger becomes frequent and it becomes excessive, okay, that's when it becomes unhealthy. And worse yet is when this anger becomes repressed and it becomes compacted. And ultimately what I'm saying is, if this anger is unresolved or it stays unresolved, it turns into rage. Okay, and rage is an unnatural outgrowth. Rage is like anger on steroids. Let's put it that way. Rage points to something that is within us. It points us to something that is an inner problem or an issue that needs to be resolved or addressed immediately. That's what rage is. Rage is basically a signal, a red blinking signal, like a red flashing signal to say that, hey, look at me. There's something you need to know. There's something you need to know. So it's an indication that there's something we need to resolve immediately. There's something we need to know right away. So it's like a red blinking sign, red flashing sign. It's a messenger of a serious problem or a threatening problem within ourself. Okay? So I believe that with our bodies, this is the reason why we need to get rid of rage, because with our bodies, we are required to purge toxicity. We're required to purge those things that are actual toxins, like emotional toxins or physical toxins, substances, okay? Because, our body needs to cleanse itself. It needs to rid itself of things that are not good for it. It does not matter if it's an actual physical toxin or it's an actual emotional toxin that is toxic or damaging to ourself or our being or our mind. An emotional toxin is more like a trauma, I would say. It's a trauma or it's a pain. It's a pain, and it's a pain that we do not rid ourselves of. And that's when it becomes toxic. Secrets make you sick. Secrets make you sick. Things that you hold inside, things that you do not rid yourself of, just like I was explaining about purging, it's going to make you sick because you need to purge it. It needs to come out. Our bodies are it's like a natural, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a natural machine where, things come in and things go out. Things come in and things come out. It's cyclical. So when you're going to block up that process, you're going to block it where something is going in but it's not coming out, it's going to be toxic, it's going to be unhealthy, it's going to be dangerous, and ultimately you're going to die. So it does not matter if it's physical or it's something emotional, something that we cannot see, something that's invisible. If we stop that process, we're going to have problems. It needs to be dealt with. Okay? If you are frequently dealing with rage, okay, rage on this level, as I explained, and it's uncontrolled, it's explosive, you need to pay attention because there's something that you need to address, something you need to look to and say, okay, so why am I getting so angry all the time? It's something that you need to acknowledge immediately. If you carry or contain or hold on to rage, it has damaging effects. And I will explain one of the reasons why it's damaging, or it affects you negatively, let's put it that way, is it affects your moods negatively. More than your moods. I would say it damages your personality. It compromises, or not compromises, it just disrupts the true you, the true personality that you have. It totally compromises that true self that you are. So let me explain what I mean. If you are a person who is a sweet, kind, caring, generous person, but you have a rage issue, that's going to damage your personality. That's not going to be so appealing to other people. Okay? Because other people are going to react to your rage rather than looking at the fact that you have all these good qualities that are the true you. The rage just kind of overshadows everything. It kind of contaminates everything. So it's like it's not a good thing for you to have rage because your personality is not clear. It's not pure. And obviously rage makes you sick. It can make you mentally ill. I think rage is an indication or a symptom of mental illness. Yes, absolutely. That's where we get borderline personality disorder, emotional dysregulation disorder, which is the same thing as borderline personality disorder. This is where we get bipolar disorder from. That's basically it. I mean, no, there's other mental disorders, but I don't really want to give any more examples. You get what I'm saying, okay? And also for the physical body, it's damaging. Absolutely physical. Your physical body, it's absolutely damaging. And I'm saying that it's damaging because your body responds to your mind. It responds to you. Your body manifests what it is that you're feeling on the inside, what's going on in your mind. With every emotion that you have, you feel the sensation in your body as a result of what you're feeling or what you're thinking. Even just what you're thinking, your body responds to it. It mirrors and reflects your state of mind. That's what it does. So also, this is another thing we need to understand, is that your body is, when you are in a constant state of anger and rage, you're just in that state all the time. Your body, as a way to cope with this, stressful emotion, it releases cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone to cope with that stress. That's why it's called a stress hormone. But what happens is that when we're always angry and always rageful, our bodies are consistently releasing cortisol, constantly releasing cortisol. And cortisol does have damaging effects. But like I've been saying, anything that is too much or anything that's in excess is going to be damaging. It does not matter what it is. It could be good, it could be bad. But cortisol, specifically the stress hormone, after time, after a while of it being constantly being released and distributed in your body, it's going to wear down your tissues. It's going to wear your tissues down. And your body is made out of tissues, of course. It's, your organs and your muscles are made out of tissue. So if this cortisol is just tearing your body down, that's going to cause some serious problems, because you need tissues. You need the tissues in your body. They serve a function. They serve a purpose. So that's another thing. It eats you alive. It eats you alive. Anger really eats you alive. Anger eats itself. And I believe that. Anger just eats itself. It's so toxic, it just eats itself. So your body is literally going to become eaten alive because you are in a constant state of rage. Your body will break down. I know that. Your body is going to break down after a while. And let's go into the next point. So also, as well as what happens to your body physically around you, your circumstances, it negatively impacts your circumstances. Rage. And of course, I know you've seen people that are enraged, or you've probably been enraged, and it negatively impacts your ability, for example, to get a job, to maintain a job or a career. That's a given, because if you're going to work for a company, for example, where you're a customer service representative and you have to talk to people and deal with other people's emotions and other people's anger, and let's say you get triggered and you get angry and you totally explode and you lose your marbles, so to speak, that's not going to be very good for the company. And you're cursing and you're screaming and you flip over the table. I mean, do you really think you're going to be able to maintain that job? No. Because you're not maintaining the standard of what that company or that business requires you to be. You're not maintaining your cool to deal with the situation or diffuse the situation at hand. And if you're getting triggered and you cannot control yourself, I mean, that's not going to reflect very well on the company. That's not going to reflect well on your position and on your company. And most often than not, you're going to get fired. If people cannot rely on you to be calm and to be controlled, you're going to get let go. They're not going to keep you, because you're not going to represent what the level or the standard to which they set for their professionalism. So that's what it is. That's what it is for a career or job. It's going to mess up your career or job, your relationships and social interactions. Of course, with people, yes. I mean, geez, yeah, rage is going to destroy some things, for sure, because I've been a rageful person. I can tell you that. I mean, it wasn't to the point where I was physically hurting anybody, but my mouth was very loose. I said things that I just said things, and I didn't even know what the heck I was saying. But it was because I was rageful. I didn't care. So my mouth was my rage. Other people physically, their rage comes through physically. But I've had other people in my life too that I literally, oh my goodness. I had a family member who, and this is not about judging. This is just about me observing that this rage thing is serious. You know, you got to be careful with this stuff. I had a cousin who was rageful. I mean, it's a long story. I'm not going to explain the story, but she showed me that side of her, which was rageful. I mean, serious rage. This was something where you're like, okay, are you going to kill me now? Are you going to find a knife? Because I think you might, because of the way that you're acting. It's scary. It's scary when people are in a state of rage. It is not pretty. It's not cute. And the funny thing is, I know the real her, the true her, because I'm able to see past the surface and see past that rage. I can tell that she's a very, not tell, I've been around her, and before that happened, I know that she's a very nice person. She's a very generous person, very loving person, but something happened to her to cause her to be that rageful. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that could have caused her to be so rageful. So this is why I'm saying everything that I'm speaking about, it comes from personal experience. And it just comes from my own inner wisdom about what I know about something. Rage is an indication of some serious issue that needs to be resolved. And she had an issue that needed to be resolved. Apparently. Quite apparently. Because you're not going to explode like that on that level and come off of it and say, oh, well, I'm fine. No, you're not. Something happened. What happened? What triggered you to be that way? What caused you to be that way? Rage is going to destroy your relationships. And because of that, I said, no, I can't be around you anymore. And it's not because I don't love you. It's because I'm afraid for my own safety. I don't know if I can be around you and trust the fact that you can be calm enough that my well-being is not threatened. So, rage, yes. It's going to do that. It's going to compromise, or it's going to hinder or obstruct your relationships with other people. It's going to get you into trouble. If you cannot watch what you're saying or watch how you're saying it, it's going to get you into trouble. It's going to compromise your integrity as a person. So you may be very, maybe a person of integrity, but once you become enraged, all of that goes out the window. All of that goes out the window. If you carry rage, you're not going to have peace, happiness, balance. And you're going to make yourself sick emotionally. So that's why you need to get rid of it. Also, I forgot to mention that another reason why you should, how it negatively impacts your life is that you can get yourself in trouble with the law. You can. Because rage can cause someone to kill someone else. It can cause someone to rob a bank. It can cause someone to shoot somebody. It can cause someone to beat someone up, nearly to death. Or possibly to death, you know what I mean? So it can get you into trouble with the law. So rage is something that needs to be dealt with, of course. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If you carry rage, you cannot be a peaceful person. You cannot be happy. You cannot have balance. You cannot have joy because you're always pissed off. You're always angry. Something's always setting you off. You're getting enraged. And this is how I was. Everything, I was just angry. Always triggered, getting angry. Telling people off and, defending myself from some perceived threat. Always angry. You cannot be happy when you're angry like that. You just can't. So I'm going to give you a few reasons or a few ways that you can determine whether you're a person of rage. And I know that just sounds funny because it's like I've explained it, but sometimes we don't really know. We don't really know until after that we're dealing with that issue or that problem because it's normal to us. It's just normal. It's normal. Anyway, the first point is that it may indicate that you're a person of rage, is that you're rarely happy about anything. You're always angry. You're always angry, which means you're pissed off at everything. Everything pisses you off. Every second you're saying, oh, this is pissing me off. I hate this. This is pissing me. You're angry. If you're saying this every single minute, everything, at least 10 times, 20 times a day. And I had a friend who was, oh my goodness, I've been around a lot of different kinds of people. And I've seen a lot of different things, and I've seen many different kinds of personalities and many different problems. I've actually had a friend who was very mentally sick, I would say, and she was angry about everything. At least, if we were talking on the phone for an hour, okay, she would, at least 20 times she would say something that pisses her off, because she was a person of rage. All she did was say, this pisses me off. I hate this. I hate that. I hate when people do this. I hate when people do that. I hate. I don't like it. It pisses me off. Screw this person. I hate that person. I wish they would. You know what I mean? Angry all the time. All the time. Rarely happy. Rarely happy. And now the next point is, when you are angry, you cannot control yourself. This is a big indication. So that means, I'm just going to really break it down for you here. You cannot control yourself. So what that means is things just fly out of your mouth. You don't even know what you're saying. You're just saying stuff. You can't even monitor what your lips are saying. They're just blah, 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 blah. They're just coming out. Verbal vomit, okay? You don't know what you're saying. You're probably hurling insults. You don't even know that you're hurling insults. You're just blah, blah, blah. It's just coming right out. You cannot watch what you're saying. You cannot help what you're saying. Also, you cannot control what your body is doing. You cannot control what your body is doing. Your body may be just, pushing things over, and you may be, trying to, punch something, or you're trying to kick something, or you're just stomping around and you get very, very aggressive and hostile. Yes. You cannot control yourself. You cannot control your body. You cannot control your mouth. You may feel as though there's like a surge of hot electricity surging. I said that already. You feel as though there's a surge of hot electrical energy that comes through your body, or just it erupts in your body, and it fries you. It fries your nerves. Okay? You just immediately just feel this thing come up inside of you, like you're just going to turn into something. Yeah. And then upon that episode, or that point where you were angry, you're completely exhausted and worn out. Like you just ran a marathon, or you went through World War IV and V and the Gulf War. You just went through hell. Because you're so exhausted. That's to tell you that your body got so worked up. You got so worked up. So worked up that after you came off of that, your body's completely exhausted. And if you go through this a lot, that's an indication that you're a person of rage. A person of rage. Okay? I know that for a fact, that when I was upset, when I used to get upset, I just couldn't, I don't know what it was. Just something always just came through me. Like I just became something else. And I just could not control my lips. I was a verbal rager. Let's put it this way. Is that a way to say it? A verbal rager? Rager? Does that sound weird? I was just someone who was just so angry, but it came out through my mouth. I was verbally attacking. I was criticizing. More than criticizing, I was just constantly speaking anger and hurling insults and cussing and feeling, just angry, rageful. I wasn't a physical rageful person. No, it never got to that point. It could have gotten to that point. Gosh, if I'd stayed angrier than I did, most likely I would have became a physically abusive person. Possibly. But thank God for that. I didn't become that, right? But that's what it was. I just could not control myself. I couldn't control how I felt. It was like immediately I just became something else. I became something different. And I couldn't control what my body was doing. And I was shaking and I was sweating and my heart was pumping. And it's like I was ready to fight, ready to fight, ready to fight. This is another point. People are afraid to talk to you. People are afraid of you. If you're observant, if you're aware, but people are afraid to talk to you. This is another thing too, going a little bit deeper, is that they're afraid to tell you they made a mistake because they feel that it may upset you, and they don't want that. So they're afraid to tell you a mistake. They're afraid to tell you that they made a mistake because they feel like you might erupt, you might get upset. And also, because they're afraid of telling you that they made a mistake, they may even lie. They're consistently lying around you, lying to you, because they're afraid of that rage. This happened to me, too. People were afraid of me. They were afraid. And now that I'm older, and now that I'm wiser in my thinking, and now that I've healed, after I healed, it's like I almost feel not almost, I feel sad because there were people that just, in my own family, that just didn't feel safe around me. They just felt totally, completely afraid of me. And they told me that. And it makes me sad now that I look back and I think, man, I just wish I was calmer. But I mean, it was part of my journey. I was just a very angry person because of what happened to me. And I kept it inside for so long, you know? It just, there's like nothing else I could do but be angry. That's all I could be, or that's all I could do. That's how I could have coped, was being angry. So people walk on eggshells around you, if you notice. They're very tiptoey around you. They're not so, they're not so willing or eager to talk to you because they're afraid, maybe she's going to snap, or maybe she's going to be mad at me if I told her I made this mistake, or, I don't know if I should say anything to her. She might be having a bad day. It's that type of thing. People are afraid of being around you. You hear calm down a lot. That's another point. You hear calm down a lot. I used to hear calm down a lot because I was angry. And I hated that word, so it made me even more angry. I still don't like that word till this day. Calm down. Or that phrase, calm down. Because it just brings me back to the point where I was angry. And then I become even more angry. And it's layers and layers on top of layers on top of layers. But I heard calm down a lot. That's how I knew that I was a person of rage. I heard calm down a lot. Okay, so those are just a few points that I made up. Not made up, I mean, it didn't come out of thin air, but that's what I devised to possibly help you to pinpoint if you are a person of rage. So if you said, yeah, I identify with that, yeah, I've heard that, yeah, that's what's happening with me, then most likely that's what you have. Are experiencing, or you have a problem with, is rage. And I just wanted to say, because this show is about defining, or how to overcome defining yourself by something, which has turned into a few videos already, is that it's not you. It's not you. It's not you. Just because you feel this way does not mean it's you. It's not you. You may contain the anger, you may feel the anger, you may display that anger on some level, but it's not you. And I'll give a personal example. Okay, so this is the reason why I created this episode, because I realized that looking back at my life, there are a few moments where I really felt like I was just this rage. For example, I was in the car with my mother. This was years and years ago. Okay, and something she said to me triggered me. Like, it just triggered me. I just got upset because I was triggered a lot. I got upset, and I was just sitting there and I was steaming, huffing and puffing, and just angry. I'm angry. And then, she was saying, "Why are you so angry?" I said, "Because you said this, that, and the other." Because I don't really remember exactly what I was angry about. And then I just continued to be angry. And then she said, "You're going to make yourself sick this way by being this angry." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She's like, you need to stop being so angry. You're going to make yourself sick. You're going to make yourself sick." And I said, "I can't help it. This is who I am." I said that. I literally said that. I said, "This is who I am. This is who I am." I defined myself by it. I said that, and I really believe that. I believe that I was the anger. I believe that I was the anger. And then my mom said, in response to that, she said, "That's not you. That's not you. That's not the true you. You are not that anger. That's not you. That's not the true you." She said that to me. I remember that. I was in the car when she said this, and I still remember it. So it must have been significant, because I really believed that I was rage. I was a rageful person. I believed that I was the rage. No, I wasn't. Okay? So I think that with this anger thing, this rage thing, so the rage is something that was created by some traumatic or painful experience in your past. Okay, so it was created by some traumatic or painful experience that brought out some deep feelings of powerlessness within you. And when you feel powerless, when you have that, when you're experiencing that fear, which is the opposite of love, what your mind does is it tries to protect itself from feeling that way. So that's when you get anger. And or you get anger because you know that your safety or your well-being is being threatened, just like I said before in the beginning. Your anger is an indication that your safety and well-being is being threatened, and most likely it is. That's why you're getting angry. But what happens is that because that anger basically proves to be ineffective because you can't do anything about what's happening to you, you continue to be angry, and that anger becomes unresolved, and that anger becomes compacted, and it becomes, repressed, and then that's when rage comes about. And then when that rage happens, because of this trauma, it fragments into a different part of ourself. It becomes compartmentalized, okay? And it becomes a different part of our minds that contains that rage, right? We become fragmented. There's a part of us that becomes fragmented because of this unresolved anger that turns into rage, because of this trauma. Because it protects us. This is what our mind wants to protect us, you see. It wants to protect us from what's happening, but it's ineffective, and then it creates rage, and then it becomes broken off into some kind of fragmented part of ourselves in the attempt of protecting us, right? And so that's really what it is. So, the rageful part of you, the rageful, fragmented part of you, is really the part of you that your mind has created to protect you. It's a fragmented piece of yourself. This rage. That's why it felt like whenever I was angry, there's something that just came up inside of me, and it's like it took me over. And this is where I think ultimately where things like multiple personality disorder comes from, because your mind fragments. It can't handle all that trauma, and it can't handle all that pain, and it can't handle all of that powerlessness. So it creates different parts of your mind, or different personalities, different false selves, to protect you in the attempt to protect itself. So that's where I think that, multiple personality disorder comes from. And or borderline personality disorder. Or, would I say schizophrenia? I'm not really sure about that. I don't really know too much about schizophrenia, but I think this is where it comes from. This is where the rage is, and this is what it functions, how it functions. And this is what happens when something happens. This is what happens when something goes on for so long. And, or, you experience something that is so traumatic that you couldn't do anything about that. And then it just created rage inside of you. Yeah. So, it's not, what I want to say, what I'm trying to get at is that this false fragmented part of yourself is not you. It's not you. It's not you. It's a false part of yourself. It's a fake part of yourself, but it's not you. And I can say this because after I came out with that secret about sexual abuse, the sexual abuse that happened to me, which I kept a secret for so long, I noticed that my anger, that my feelings of rage dissipated tremendously. Okay? Because I think that part of myself, my mind realized that that part of myself was not needed anymore. It didn't have to protect me anymore. So once I brought out that secret, and once I came out with it, and I shared my feelings, and I shared my pain, and I poured out my, experience, that part of me dissipated over time. It did. I mean, obviously I did get triggered, and I did struggle with anger at times, but it healed to the point where it wasn't that bad. It was a lot better. I wasn't as, toxic and electric about it. It wasn't so, alerting. It was softer. I did get angry, but I was not nearly as angry as I was before. And this was after I came out with that, that secret. So that's why I believe that the rage it's an indication of something that you need to deal with. I was a lot better. I was a lot better because I came out with that secret. So I just do not want you to define yourself by your current state. If you happen to be angry and a person of rage, do not define yourself by that current state. Because it's just an emotion. It's an emotion. It's something that you're carrying. As well as a fragmented piece of yourself. But it's the fragmented piece of yourself that is rage. That carries rage, contains rage. But it's not you. It's created. It's false. It's not real. And if you've been angry for a very long time, it does not mean that's who you are. What you amount to, or you'll never be anything but that anger. It's not true. Not true. It's just something you're experiencing. It's just a, temporary experience. You have your angry stages. This is what happens. You have your angry stages. It's okay. But it does not mean that that's who you are. That's not who you are. So I'm going to tell you a few different ways I dealt with rage. Okay, let's get right into it. First of all, I believe that if you have rage, you need to go to therapy. I believe you should go to therapy. Because when you're in this state, you're so full of emotion, and you're so pent up, and you're so deep entrenched in these emotions that you cannot really see yourself, or you cannot really manage yourself the way you want to, because it's so uncontrollable, and it's outrageous. So you have to go to therapy. I feel like you should go to therapy if you're dealing with that. So you can sort through your emotions and sort through your feelings and kind of get a better perspective about things. Air things out. Possibly if you have not, if you've gone through certain things that you have not told anybody, maybe that's what you need to do. You need to tell someone about what you've gone through, and that could have everything to do with your rage. Yeah. So I think going to therapy first is one thing that you should do. Is the first thing you should do. Okay. So the second one is discipline. Is discipline. You have to discipline and consciously and diligently resist that overwhelming urge to erupt. You have to, right? Because like I was saying, everything is a pattern. That's all I've been saying. I mean, the last, I don't know how many videos I've been saying that things are a pattern. It's ingrained. It's something that it's cyclical. It just keeps going over and over again. And if you got into a pattern or habit of becoming angry, if you developed a pathology for being angry, it's something that needs to be reversed. So you have to resist that temptation to erupt. That pattern needs to be broken, and you need to create a new pattern of being calm. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. So first of all, and of course you have to keep doing this. This is not something you're going to get right away. And this is based off of me and my experience. So it may not work for you. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying what I feel. So when you feel like you're getting upset, I would say the best thing for you to do in that moment is to breathe deeply. You have to breathe deeply when you're getting upset. And why you need to breathe deeply is because you clear your brain when you breathe. Okay? If you try it, if you're thinking about a million things and then you breathe very deeply, you notice that your head becomes a little bit clearer. In fact, a lot clearer. In that moment, you're not thinking. It clears your brain. It oxygenates your brain. And when it oxygenates your brain becomes more, I guess, relaxed and balanced. Breathing is important stuff. We obviously take it for granted so much because we breathe a million times per day. But you need to breathe. When you deep breathe, you're giving your brain extra oxygen. So that means you could think more clearly. And you're more balanced. Okay? So deep breathing and becoming present in your body. In fact, the breath is what causes you to become more present in your body. It brings you to yourself. When you're breathing, deep breathing, you become present to your body. You're more in yourself. You're not so much in your brain, but you're in yourself, in your true being, in your true state. Because all this mind stuff is not really you anyway. And all that mind stuff is what's creating that rage anyway. So when you breathe deeply and you become present in your body and you just observe yourself and you observe your presence, or just observe yourself. Just be present within yourself. Observe the emotion, observe yourself. It will be diffused. It will be diffused. Okay? There's a power of being present in your body. There's a power for that. And what I describe is basically meditation anyway. That's meditation. That's basically meditation. So that's my next point, is meditation and yoga. Yeah, yoga and meditation. But anyway, meditation is really just the same thing I described as, breathing deeply, becoming present in your body, observing yourself in your presence, just observing what's happening inside of you at that moment. And I'm telling you, a lot of your thoughts clear. In fact, your thoughts just clear. If you're doing it right, your thoughts clear. And then you become present in your body, and then that's when you feel the calm and the peace and the joy, because it's your mind that's creating your agony. It's the mind that's creating your rage. So when you shut that off with meditation, you are born to your true self, basically. You become aware of your true self in that moment. You become present in your body when you do that. And yoga does the same thing. I mean, yoga really incorporates practices of meditation and stretching, breathing, which is what I was saying, just explaining that stuff. But stretching also helps your body. Because, first of all, it releases toxins that are, kept in certain parts of your body or stuck in different parts of your body. And toxins can also create emotional imbalances, like actual physical toxins, things that are in your body, chemicals that are in your body, things that just don't really belong in your body, can create bad emotions as well. So stretching does release those toxins as well. Breathing, of course, like I was saying, and yoga helps to ground you with your body. It helps to ground you with your body by being present, but also by using exercise. And we know that exercise calms us, right? Exercise calms us. There's a connection between the body and mind. So if your body is being stretched and it's being, I guess, used correctly, used in a healthy way, it's going to affect your mind. It's going to make your mind better and feel better, feel more relaxed. Yoga is a very good thing. So it's all incorporated with meditation and everything. It helps to still your mind. It helps to still your mind because of all of these practices I was just speaking about. So yoga is a very good thing for people who are, and that's one thing that I was doing a few years ago. A few years ago when I had a gym membership. I no longer have that. But there were some circumstances that were, I guess, undesirable for me. And that's the reason why I didn't really keep it. But I did a lot of yoga. And that was around the time that I was extremely stressed and extremely angry. And it helped a lot. And the funny thing is, before I even did it, I was extremely skeptical about it. I said, I don't want to do yoga. I don't want to do yoga. My mom was suggesting that to me. And a couple other people suggested it to me, and I was like, I don't want to do yoga. I hate yoga. And I was being just totally ignorant because I didn't even do it yet. But I was like, I don't care about that stuff. That's not going to help me. And I did it. And then I realized how much I loved it because I was so relaxed. I was so relaxed, and I felt so peaceful when I was doing it. And the funny thing is, one of the yoga classes that I attended, this was probably the second or third time that I actually did yoga. I did the exercise class. I did the class, and at the end, we all had to sit on the mat or lie on the mat and stretch out and meditate and breathe while we're listening to some really soothing sounds. And I felt so relaxed and so peaceful, I started to cry. Because I've never felt that peaceful in a very, very long time. So I said, oh my gosh. After that, I was hooked. I was just like, I have to go to yoga. I have to go to yoga. I have to go to yoga. Everything was yoga, 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 yoga. Because it brings the different aspects of yourself together in alignment, and it makes it more balanced. It brings your mind together with your body and with your spirit. It brings all different aspects of yourself together in more alignment. And that's how you become more balanced. And that's how you become more grounded. And that's how you become more peaceful and happy. So I would suggest you do yoga. Yoga's great. And this is another point. If you're on the onset of an anger episode, it really helps to put into perspective why you are so upset. Why are you so upset? And I guarantee you, if you ask yourself this, if you really ask yourself this question and don't just give a surface answer about, oh, they just did this to me, they did that to me. If you really ask yourself why you are so upset and think about why you are really so upset, you realize that it doesn't warrant the reaction. You realize that it's not a big deal if you think about it. When you put perspective to rage and ask yourself why you're so upset, then you're going to see that it's irrational. A lot of rage is irrational. It's irrational. It's just an impulse. It's a reaction. It's something that triggered us. And most often than not, you're not angry at what you think you're angry at. You're not. You think you're angry because that person flipped you the bird, or they brushed your shoulder as they passed by you while you were walking, but it's not that. It was what they did reminded you, which is a trigger, it reminded you of a certain time that you felt like that based off of what they did, but you're really not angry at what they did. You're angry at what they did reminded you of, if you get what I'm saying. It's not really about what they did. It's just that you got triggered. You got triggered to a point where it reminded you of something that you didn't like. It's something you didn't like. So you got to dig deeper instead of just asking yourself or just telling other people that, oh, it's just because they did this. No. It's relating to something. It's triggering something, some deep wound, or the origin of the reason why you're so angry and rageful now. So you have to dig deeper. So maybe you ask yourself, do I feel powerless? Because these are the main emotions that I feel, which will cause us to be angry. I mean, there's really one origin for it, but do I feel powerless? Do I feel powerless when they did that? Do I feel controlled? Do I feel controlled? Am I in fear? And that's really the origin of it all. That's the origin of anger, and that's the origin of rage, is really fear. Because yes, everything that I was saying before, but really it's the origin of fear. Because anything that you're not feeling good about is fear. Anything that is not aligned with your true self is fear. It's not love. If you're not feeling love, you're feeling fear. If you were abused, you were feeling fear. You were in fear. You were feeling fear. You were treated with fear. You understand what I'm saying? If you were feeling love, you wouldn't be angry. You were feeling fear. Powerlessness. To feel powerless is to feel fear. Because ultimately, to feel powerless is going against your true nature. Your true nature is to be powerful. Your true nature is powerful. So if you're feeling powerlessness, you're feeling fear. You're feeling the ultimate fear. That is the ultimate fear. You're feeling a deep fear, because that is so opposite of what the true you is. I'm sorry, I can get really deep about this stuff, but that's true. Do you feel controlled? Control is also fear. If you're feeling controlled, or if you are being controlled, you're being treated with fear. Because our true nature is to be free and to be limitless. And if we're being controlled, especially if we're being abused on some level, I'm not just going to say sexual abuse, because it's all kinds of abuses. If you're going to be controlled on some level, you're going to feel fear, because it's not in your nature to be controlled, right? You're supposed to be limitless. No one is supposed to treat you and control you, dominate you. That's fear. That's what you're going to feel, is fear. And that perpetrator, or that person who hurt you, is in fear of their true self, or their fear of their own power. That's why they have to feel the need to dominate you, because they want to somehow claim their idea, or this illusion of powerfulness, or power, true power. But it's obviously an illusion. It's false. It's a falsity. It's an illusion. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is. Ask yourself why you're so upset. And the last point is patience. You gotta be patient. It's not gonna happen right away. It's gonna take a lot of time and a lot of work. Okay, because it's a pattern. It's deep. It's imprinted in your mind pretty heavily. So it's going to take time to reverse the impulses and the reactions. Okay, so just keep working on it. Just keep working on it. Trust me, you will reverse what it is that you want to reverse with this rage thing. It will get better with time, okay? Because I did it. Trust me. I did it. I know you can. We can do anything we want to do. Just have to set your mind to it and be patient. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Thanks for listening to Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Wholeness After Sexual Abuse. So, if there is someone you think may benefit from this show, please don't hesitate to share it. Okay? So next week, we're going to explore how to overcome self-pity and hopelessness. So be sure to tune in. And until next time, rest easy.